So we're going to wrap it up soon. I want to cover one more thing with the request for corrections that hasn't been mentioned a lot. So the dismissal of your request for corrections, and I believe, did you do an appeal? I believe you did, right?
Okay, it's basically, and this was, my attorney was Jerry Leapart. He's a brilliant guy.
Yes.
And he did 3 9/11 suits. One was with Ed Haas of the Muckmaker Report. That involved NIST dragging their feet on WTC-7 investigation. And then Dr. Wood's suit, which could be called the DEW, the directed energy weapon suit. Mine was basically a no planes complaint. But first of all, what you do with the procedure, this is back in 2007, so it's not fresh in my mind, but basically, I've got quite a bit of material on my site about it from the filings in the courts to my answers to Judge George Daniels, who was an embarrassment to the legal system. But you almost expect this. But first of all, dealing with NIST, you can file a request for correction. Under the Data Quality Act, the government's supposed to be putting out honest stuff, okay? So I basically complained about how the evidence isn't there for the planes and so on. And then when they answered me in a 3-page letter that was remarkable for, take my word for it, we've adopted the best simulation methods.
See the commission report.
Take my word for it. I'm not taking your word for it. You offer me some proof. And then they even said that Newton's third law wasn't violated because when a building, the second law, when a force acts on an object, it moves it. It decelerates or accelerates it, okay? Now, when a plane runs into a building, it encounters a force that when it was flying through the air, hadn't encountered, okay? The air is something, it's a gas, and it offers resistance, but not resistance like a steel tower, okay?
No.
And they actually, and there's no, the third law is equal and opposite, okay? Equal and opposite. There's no lag structure built into Sir Isaac Newton's third law of mechanics, okay? And NIST actually said that there's a delay.
Oh, is there?
There's a lag, yeah.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Because if you look at the plane, it takes, as Joe Keith would say, if you stutter step or step by step it takes 7 frames for this building to come to the nose, or for the nose of the plane to come to the building, the wall. And then it takes the same number for it to disappear into the building, okay? so NIST claimed the same. We agreed. It took 0.2 seconds for the plane to traverse its length into the building, 159 feet.
No collision. There's no collision.
Yeah, that means, that's right, that the building offered no resistance. Now, later they amended that a little bit. They raised it to 0.25 or something.
Oh, okay.
It's not supportable, but
now it makes sense.
They had to adjust their lie, okay?
Yeah.
But when they said, we have to allow for the lag or the delay in slowing the plane, I mean, this is a complete crock.
Garbage.
It's immediate.
Wow.
So, any rate, when of course they in effect rejected the amendment of their lies, and then we take it to court because now I am under the key tam law. I am a whistleblower. Okay, I'm a whistleblower. And I'm not suing NIST. I'm suing the contractors to NIST on the claim that they are deceiving NIST. Okay, they're doing junk science, a bag of lies, and NIST is paying them as an innocent victim. I mean, here I'm speaking as a layman, as a plaintiff in this civil suit. And I could actually make money should I win the suit? But actually, what we wanted was to depose the witnesses, the contractors, Mike. Okay, we want to depose them under oath. And being as well informed as I am about the lies of 9/11, wouldn't that have been rich? And I could prove in court that they're all lying for money, for taxpayer money. They're defrauding the government. Actually represented the United States government in this suit. Well, to make a longer story short, in 2008, Judge Daniels granted the defendant's motion to dismiss, and he dismissed with prejudice, which doesn't mean that he rejected their earnest plea to sanction me, okay, which would mean I would have to pay fines and that on a frivolous lawsuit type, that I'm a bogus plaintiff, okay, and I'd have to pay all their handsome legal fees, which would have bankrupted me quickly. Well, the judge didn't do that because I don't think he could get away with it. You're supposed to treat the allegations of the plaintiff as factually true for the issue of whether to dismiss a suit or not. But in any case, he didn't grant the sanctions, which I breathed a sigh of relief. Now, at that point, he rolled all three cases, which were separate into one, and dismissed all of them with prejudice. Now, Dr. Wood took her case to the appeals level, and we don't need to take mine. You know, it's going to get the same treatment. And the appeals court actually had a pretty sympathetic hearing. However, they rejected it, and then Dr. Wood, to complete the circuit, took to the Supreme Court, and of course they didn't take up the case. They took up very few. But
their rejection quote was something like, "We acknowledge the law applies to the case. However, we're choosing to ignore the law in order to dismiss the case."
Yeah, well, that's what the appellate court did. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a good point, because they actually have to write a ruling. Mm-hmm. And give you some reasons, bogus or not, yep, for their ruling. But yes, in effect, they admitted that even though the law had changed, we're going to ignore it, meaning the statute. Okay. Now the Supreme Court can simply not refuse to accept the case without giving any reasoning. Yeah. Because they get who knows how many thousands of cases, and they only take a few.
So that kind of brings me to the last part on your dismissal of the cases. This is something that I kind of haven't heard much talk about. Do you think national security was kind of used in these cases? For me, at least what I see on the outside is anytime something comes that is too close to home, they slap national security on it and you never hear about it again.
That wasn't invoked in these three cases at the district court level. Okay. It wasn't invoked, although they do have this, that's not exactly the way they put it, but you're getting at something that is a legal out for the government. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that they can refuse to, they can invoke sovereign immunity in effect because of the alleged risk to imperil national security. So,
yeah, in other words, they didn't even let you get to that point. Or Dr. Wood, I guess, would be the one that was
well,
really
they didn't feel they needed to. I mean, because, Judge, and I've written about this, I refuted everything George Daniels, the judge, who's made some really goofy rulings.
Was he the New Jersey one? I looked up one of them, and he was pretty fishy.
No, he's not he didn't have anything to do that I know of.
Okay, maybe it was something else that I saw.
This is in the Southern District of New York State. Oh, okay. So, the court is only blocks from the World Trade Center. Mm-hmm. It's easy walking distance. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that was the right place to file these civil cases against NIST contractors, mm-hmm, because that's where the events took place.
Absolutely. So, again, to the last thing, going into these cases, what were you expecting as an outcome, or did you even expect an outcome?
Well, I expected the courts to reject us, of course. I wasn't that naive, but as long as there was a chance, I wanted to pursue it. And Jerry Liebhardt made it easy because he was doing this. Of course, this is all being done on a volunteer basis.
Yep.
But we were going a legal route to see if we could expose the key elements of the fraud. Mm-hmm. And if we'd been able to depose these contractors, we would have.
Yep.
It would have been grand, and much less go into court and get a decision against these guys. Which are it's just terrible people. I mean, how can you live with yourself? Yep. So I felt we had to try it, and Jerry Liebhardt was an angel, and he was very very effective, even though. And I did an interview with Jerry Liebhardt here a few years back, and the transcript is available at nomorgames.net. And he has a very interesting perspective because what would you say? Well, you'd say Reynolds lost, mm-hmm. and the plaintiffs won. But Jerry insists it's not that easy. He's proud of it. It's on the record. Mm-hmm. And that's a very good point. And we made the effort. It was like the San Antonio Spurs. I was listening to Coach Greg. Oh, gee, what's his name now? But in any case, he played the woeful Philadelphia 76ers Monday night, I guess, or Sunday night in the NBA. And the Sixers are 0-17. They haven't won a game. And Coach was saying, he was very praising them to the sky because they haven't quit. And the Spurs only won by 6, but it's a win. And they sat out a couple of their stars. So at any rate, he went on. And there's a lot to be said for that. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to be said for the warrior who's down there in the arena fighting his heart out, doing the best he can, and coming up second or worse, and people who are spectators can tut about you're a loser. No, you're not a loser.
Nope, not at all. And we want to thank Dr. Wood and yourself and Jerry Liebhardt for putting this in the public domain. Anybody at any time can go see this either on your websites, and I believe it is in the public court system. I don't know what website that is.
Yeah, there is. You have to sign up for PACER, they call it. Public Access Court Electronic Records.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you would, but the accounts are free.
Yep.
And so you can go to PACER and find those cases in detail. But like I say, on nomorgames.net, that's a friendlier way to get the guts of it.
Well, that's where I looked in Dr. Wood's page. But we want to thank you for contributing that, because even though the case was dismissed in the other cases too, it went there. It's on record. You can go see it. So we'll thank you for that. And we're probably forever indebted to you guys for that, because that was, to my knowledge, this first case that went on the books. Now, there was the architects and engineers, or whatever, the one that Richard Gage helped in, or Stephen Jones, and they didn't mention thermite at all. But we won't even get into that. So anyways, Dr. Morgan Reynolds, thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully you'll be back. It really sucks not getting the Reynolds Reveal anymore, because that was good. You had some really good...
I appreciate that, Mike.
You had some really good tunes, too. I like that was one of the best parts about it. Not only the content, but the tunes.
Yeah, every week I tried, as the show evolved, I tried to get the music to jive with the guest, or the points of view we're trying to get across. And that was a lot of fun, that part.
Would you ever plan on doing it again? I know you're busy.
Well, if somebody will pay me, yes. But, but it was a lot of work, and I just didn't feel like I was getting an audience.
Yeah.
But it's great to hear from some people who were onto it and enjoyed it.
Oh, for sure. And you know what? If you want to come back one day as a co-host, by all means, it's fine with me.
Hey, Mike, I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, Morgan, we will talk to you whenever we do, and like I said, we'd love to have you back on the show. Thanks everyone for listening, and you could help us out by sharing it, of course, and just spreading the information out, guys. It's our world, and let's do something about it.